morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you have to get on your mat. Welcome to your practice. So today's class is a flow class, but it's a nice calm flow. So it's going to be a sort of a rhythmic flow feel, which feels really good. Just kind of a continuous movement without a whole lot of stress. Even though some of us really want to work out when we get on our yoga mat, we'll get that, but it's not going to be quite as intense. I'm coming back to my practice as well, so taking a little slower or a little bit more easy, but this will be an hour-long practice with some included pranayama here in the beginning. So I need you to go and clear your sinus passages. So I want you to go blow your nose. I know this sounds weird to ask of you in the very beginning, but we're going to do an alternate nostril breath to start. And you do need to be able to breathe freely through your nose. So if you're just waking up in the morning or you have allergies, it's a good idea to be prepared beforehand. It makes it a little more enjoyable. So if you need to pause now, go do that. And then when you come back, also make sure you have your blocks. I'm going to have a blanket for today for a little bit more extra cushioning for my knees if I need it. And that's completely optional because we will be pretty much just moving quite a bit today without too much pressure on the knees. So these props are, of course, always optional, but I like to have them handy. So let's go ahead and begin. So all you're going to do is you're going to fold your dominant hand, the first two fingers, your index and your middle finger, into the palm. So I've got it kind of squeezing into the palm. I've extended my ring finger and my pinky and my thumb. So I've got these three fingers extended, the other tucked into my palm. And the reason why we do this is so this gives us room for our nose. Our nose is right here, but I'm going to use my pinky finger and my thumb to just gently close at the very base of the nostril as we breathe in through one and out through the other, and then in that one and then out through the opposite. So we're rotating back and forth, left and right nostril. This is a very calming and also a very balancing pranayama practice. It's very common. So here we go. So just take a few deep breaths, having your palms ready to go, just in and out through the nose. So start to maybe close your eyes if you need to really focus on that. Just breathing in and out. So taking just about 3 or 4 full cycles in and out through the nose first. Beautiful. And then just let your eyes come open. Let's take a nice deep breath in through our nose. One more time. Bring your hand up close to your face. Close the left base of the nostril. Breathe in through your right. Full breath. Close the right nostril. Breathe out through the left. Breathe in left. Close left. Breathe out right. Breathe in right. Close right, open left, breathe out. Breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Breathe in right. Close right, breathe out left. Breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Breathe right. Close right, breathe out left. Breathe left. Close left, breathe out right. Breathe in right. Close right, breathe out left. Breathe left. Close left, breathe out right. Release your hands. Close eyes and just breathe in a few natural breaths through the nose. And out through the nose. In and out. This alternate breath brings a balance to the left and right brain, to your feminine and masculine energy. Remember, we talk a lot about energy in yoga, so tapping into the subtle energy in the body. Good, and then just let your eyes come open. All right, so from here, I want you to go ahead and just inhale and sweep your hands up overhead. Take a nice big stretch, and then just exhale, drop the palms, reach the hands behind you, interlace your fingers, and maybe start to straighten the elbows. Just take a couple breaths there, maybe drop the shoulders down. You could even drop your chin if that feels good. And for today, this feels really good to me. Good. And then from here, you're going to actually reach your left hand around and behind to grab your right elbow if you can. So just reaching around to grab. And all I'm going to do is from here, I'm actually going to tilt my head to my left. So you're right, but actually you're left, excuse me. So I'm mirroring you here. So go ahead and tilt to the left and just feel a nice stretch along the neck here. Soften the face and the jaw. Notice the breath and stay with it, and then maybe start to tilt your chin towards your chest. Good opportunity here is to notice whether you feel sensation or not. Whether this feels like an area of your body that is tense and tight or sore from overuse. Just take note. And then pick up the head. And let's reach for the other elbow. So I'm taking my left hand behind, reaching for my right. Tilting my head. And feeling that nice stretch. You could kind of pull on the elbow a little bit too if you want more. Just stay a few breaths here. And if this is your more dominant side, perhaps you feel more sensation. And perhaps not, because sometimes we overcompensate on the side that we wouldn't imagine that we're compensating on. So you might be feeling more sensation on your less dominant side, and then tilt your chin towards your chest. Good, and then just release. Bring your palms back to your thighs. Let's change the cross of our legs. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down a couple times. So this is a very calm practice that you can come back to in times of stress or you're feeling overwhelmed. It's just a great way to sort of focus on your body and how you're feeling in the moment, and perhaps let go of whatever is bothering you. If you've got something on your mind, a conversation that you've had with somebody, or perhaps just feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you're spending a lot of time at home with your kids right now because of the virus. So we're all experiencing a little bit of stress in one way or another right now. So it's good to take care of yourself. Good. And then just come back to center. And from here, you're just going to nice and easily make your way into a tabletop position. So just go ahead and make your way to tabletop. And just do a few rhythmic rounds of cat and cow. So inhaling, dropping the belly, looking forward. And then exhaling, rounding the spine, tucking the chin. Just do that a few times. Inhale, look forward. Drop the belly, exhale, round. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Nice and easy. And then from here, let's sweep our left hand up. Make a couple of circular motions with our arms. So instead of just reaching it up like we normally do, we're going to swirl a little bit, and this is going to feel a little awkward. Just do your best. Let's just juice up the shoulder a little bit and maybe go the opposite direction. Maybe test both directions. See which one feels easier for you. Good, and then we'll thread the needle. So go ahead and bring it all the way underneath. Turn your head in the direction of the hand. Let your head rest. And just feel a nice melting action happen here. So you want your head to be resting. Your bum is up in the air. Feeling a nice shoulder stretch. If you want to juice it up a little bit, you could press into the right hand and turn and maybe gaze towards the ceiling. That'll incorporate a little bit of a twist at the same time. Stay steady with the breath. So now transitioning to Ujjayi breath. So come on up. If you've been following my classes, you know what we're talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and reach my right hand up now. Feel a little stretch and then begin my circles in whatever way feels most natural. And then I'm going to change the circle. Again, if you have shoulder injury, this might not be the move for you, and that's okay. You could just go straight into threading your needle here. So I'm really asking you, since I don't have you here in the room with me, that you listen to your body. And we are going to talk a little bit about finding our perfect pose today as we move through the practice. I'm going to juice this up a little bit by pressing into my left hand and turning a little more. I'm gazing up at this. That's what feels good for me. Good, and then hands come back to the mat. Nice gentle tucking of the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Just find your dog. Let's pedal it out. Dropping one heel and then the other. First paying attention to the legs and feet. Just a couple of times. And noticing, do you need to keep your knees more bent in your dog because your hamstrings are a little tight today. So that's another way to acknowledge where you need to be in your pose, where your body wants you to be. So from here, I really want you to press the mat away with your hands. So that forces you to straighten your arms a little bit more so you feel a really strong foundation in your arms. Good, and then shake your head yes and no. Walk your feet as wide as your mat and walk your hands back just a little bit, and we're going to do a twisted dog here. So I'm going to grab my left hand, take it across, pick it up, take it across, grab a hold of my right shin, and turn and look underneath my right arm. Give myself a little twist here. Warming up the shoulders as well. Good, and then just release. Other side. So really firming the left arm so you feel strong. Turn and cross. Keep the heels dropped if you can. Look underneath the shoulder. Good, and then back to center. Look forward. Let's step to the top of our mat. So just bring the feet forward, dangling in Uttanasana for a breath or two here. If you want to traction out the spine a little more, you could take your hands into the crooks of the elbows, and you're going to feel a little deeper stretch of the back. Just sort of weights the spine a little more so you can feel more separation there. Good, and then with maybe soft knees, let's slowly roll up through the spine. Come on up. And then we're going to drop back down again. So you're just going to slowly tuck your chin and roll all the way forward, softening the knees if you need to. Now, if you can keep them straight and still hinge at the hips, fine. Roll it back up. Let's do that a couple of times. So listen to your body. If you can hinge deeply at the hips without bending the knees, then you can fold forward. If it is really hard for you to come any further than this, then you know you probably need to bend your knees. That'll help. And then roll up one more time. Let's take our hands wide, inhaling, sweeping up, drawing your hands to your heart. Let's begin to flow through some sun salutations. Inhale, reach up. We're going to add one extra element today. Exhale to bow, so be prepared for that. Keep an open mind. Hands to shins. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Straighten the back. Exhale and fold. Step your left foot back. Drop your left knee to the mat and sweep your hands high. Lift your gaze if that feels comfortable. Float your hands to the mat. Step back to dog. Float to plank, breathing in. Take knees, chest, and chin to lower yourself down. Inhaling to roll the shoulders back for cobra, squeezing your butt here. Exhale back to child's pose. This is the little added extra here. So child's pose. Keep your toes together here as you come up, forward like you're going to come into a cobra, but your knees stay bent. So you're just kind of hanging here now. We're going to call this our swan pose. And then back to tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. That's going to be our added vinyasa there. So we're doing a low lunge salutation, but we're adding this element. Let's lift our left leg up behind us, nice and strong. Squeeze your butt. Bend your knee, tuck it in, step it through. Lower your right knee to the mat, float your hands for the other side. Just feel the front of the body open. So you want to feel this separation between the ribs and the pelvis as you reach your hands, looking to expand. Good, and then float your hands to the mat and you're just going to step forward and bow. Hands to the shins. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise. Exhale to draw your hands to your heart. Keep moving, please. Inhale, float. Exhale, bow. Lift and lengthen. And bow. Right foot steps back first this time. Knee to the mat. Float the hands. Really pressing through the front foot. When you do this, you're going to feel a little more power when you do that. And then float your hands to the mat. Step to dog. Flow through your vinyasa. So plank, knees, chest, chin. Cobra. Squeezing the butt. I love to squeeze my butt here. Optional for that. Child's pose. Toes stay together, but we rock forward. Lift the feet. Keep them lifted. Swan pose. Sit it back, tuck the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Right leg rises, inhale, squeeze. Knee comes to chest, maybe hug it in really, really tight. Then step your foot through. Let your left knee float. Inhale to rise. Reach back, maybe look up this time. Hands to the mat, step forward. So I'm going to spring off my back foot to come into my forward fold. Nice and easy. Hands to shins to lift and lengthen. And exhale to bow. Press through the feet, roll and rise. I love to bend my knees as I come up. Notice if that feels better for your body. If it feels better for you to keep your legs straight, that's what you're going to do. You're going to notice your low back. Let's keep flowing. Let's do one more round. Half lift and lengthen. Left foot steps back this time for our low lunge. Knee floats to the mat. Let's keep going. Rise. Float your hands to the mat. Dog. Float to plank with the breath in. Knees, chest, chin, breath out. Roll it into cobra. Maybe you want to push into up dog. Back to child's pose. So knees go wide, toes stay together. Forward for your swan pose. Lift the feet. A little fancy move here, but it feels really good for the hip flexors actually. And then back, tuck the toes, down dog. Left leg rises, breathe in. Breathe out, hug it in, lift it like you're gonna kiss your knee. So the knee and the shin stay really lifted here. And then step it through. Float your right knee to the mat. Inhale, rise. Ah, yes, exhale, float your hands to the mat. Step back to dog. Actually, I wanted to step forward for that. So look forward. Step to the top of your mat. Hands to shins. Inhale. Exhale, bow. Inhale, rise. Hopefully I didn't leave one out there. I think I might have. And then draw your hands to your heart. Keep going. One more. Bow. You know the flow now. Always that half lift. Right foot steps. Knee floats to mat. Inhale to float. Hands expand. Come to the mat. Step to dog. Breathe into your plank. Pull the navel in as you do that. Feel really strong here. Knees, chest, chin. Find your cobra. Maybe your up dog. Knees go wide. Child's pose. Toes stay together as you lift. Press forward into your swan. Tuck the toes, lift up and back. I think I did forget one on the other side. Let's lift our right leg. Knee comes to chest, hug it in. Step it through. Float the knee down. Inhale to breathe and keep moving. Float the hands to the mat. Bounce off the back foot. Step it forward. I've got my feet a little wider today. That's what feels good for me today. So inhale to lengthen. Exhale to bow. Inhale to rise. Hands to your heart. Take a moment just to notice how you feel. Bring the feet together. If it feels better for your feet to be a little separate here, you can always do that as well. I'm going to sit back into chair. So I'm going to sweep my hands up first and then sit back into Utkatasana chair pose. Try not to let your hands drop here, your head drop. I see this a lot. And it takes more effort to stay lifted, right? And it feels like. So try to keep the hands and arms back, close to the ears as you sit down. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Breathing. Bring your hands to your heart here. I want you to lift the heels So I'm rocking onto the balls of my feet. I'm going to extend my arms behind me. Feel some power and some heat start to build. Pull the navel in. Maybe squeeze the sit bones together. And then drop your heels and maybe lift your toes. Come forward. Heels lift. Good. And then bow. That's flow. Step the left foot back. Knee down. Inhale to rise. One more low lunge sun salutation. Step to dog. Breathe to plank. Knees, chest, chin. Maybe chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Child's pose. Swan pose. Down dog. Right leg rises. Bend the knee. Bring it towards the chest. Hug it in. Step it through. Knee comes to the mat. Rise. Float your hands. Step forward. Bow. Try to bring your feet closer together if that feels more natural. If not, separate them. Chair pose. Right into a standing flow here. So sit back. Again, lift the heels. Hands reach behind you. Feeling the legs power up. Good. Drop the heels. Hands to your heart. Lift your right heel. Press into your left foot. Really feel the left foot. You're going to slowly rise now. Pick up your right knee. And actually move into tree pose here. So foot goes where it needs to go for you. Inner thigh, inner shin, ankle. Reach hands overhead. Do your best. We're going to step to crescent lunge from here. All right? So hands to your heart. Step your foot back to crescent. So heel is lifted in this pose, right? So we're trying to straighten our back knee, okay? So we don't want to have a bent knee here if we can. We want to lift. Do your best. Separate your feet so that you're not having trouble balancing, okay? Bring your hands to your waist until you feel steady. We always have to move around in our poses once we get here. Reach your hands up. Maybe reach your hands back a little. You should be feeling more open in the hip flexors here. And we're going to move right into Warrior Two from here. So turn. Just turn. Reach your arms, extend them. Settle into your pose. So here's where I want you to listen to your body. How do your hips feel here? How does the femur bone feel in the hip socket? So it's in, it's connected to the hip socket, right? It's in the socket, the top of the femur bone. How does it feel there? Do you need to widen your stance a bit? So that means step your left foot to the left. Okay, what feels best to you? All of our bodies are different. Working towards getting our left knee over the ankle. And a lot of times I see this. So this could be some risk to your knee. It's also a lot harder to have your knee past the ankle. It's harder for the quadricep. The quadricep has to work harder. So think about stepping your back foot back a little so that you can stack the joints. Good. Find your reverse warrior here. And then we're going to float right into Parshva, modified. Swirl the arm again. So I'm going to adjust my stance here. what feels best to me. Could mean shortening it. So we are looking at strengthening all of the muscles, the ligaments around the knees, right? The hips. So there's benefit to that. We want that, especially in our standing poses. Good. And then sweep the arm behind you to bind, half bind here. A little different here. So find a nice solid stance with your feet. Reach your left hand. And you're just balancing. Yeah. Little core. I feel it a lot in my quad. Good. And then I'm going to reverse. Float my hands to the mat. Take down dog. And optional to vinyasa. If you want your vinyasa, you move through the same vinyasa we've been doing. It's just nice and rhythmic without being too intense. Back in dog, everyone. Take 2 breaths here. Lift your right leg up behind you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Swing it forward. Hug it in first. Always hugging. Stepping it through. That's how you get your foot through easier. Spin your back heel down. Actually, don't. I want you to step forward. Sorry. We want to repeat that sequence on the other side. So bring the feet together. Inhale, sweep your hands up. Sorry, I'm slow getting back to it. Exhale, sit back. Lift your heels. Take your hands behind you. So you're balancing. Shoulders down. So shoulder blades engage behind you. They squeeze towards the spine. Good. And then lower your heels. Maybe pick up the toes. Place them back down. Pick up your left heel this time. Bring your hands to your heart. So I'm going to really sit into my chair, feel my right foot. Then I'm going to slowly start to come up, left knee and chest, or close to chest. Tree pose. Finding your variation of tree. Reach hands, or keep them at your heart, what feels best. Feel your tree grow, keep expanding. Feel all the muscles in your right leg working. Hands to your heart. Step to crescent, step it back. Squeegee the toes back. Find your deepest stance for your crescent. Heel is stacked over toes as best you can. So that means it's not really far back. You're actually lifting the heel so it's over the toes as best you can. Find that wide stance that feels comfortable to you. Reach your hands. Once you start to really listen to the body instead of just move through the poses, your practice is going to change tremendously for you. You're going to feel so much better. It's going to be more enjoyable instead of rote. It's going to be about what is your body feeling today? What do I need to do today? Let's stack our shoulders over hips. Settle down. Gaze over the right middle finger. Start to feel the right quad speak. Let's reverse. Best of your ability. Float it forward. Circles the arm. If you want more, settle down into your lunge a little more. Like if you're looking for less, you're going to back out a bit. If you're looking for more, settle down. Really settle the hips. Maybe swirl the other way. Good. And then I'm just going to wrap behind. Lift up my right arm. And maybe gaze out towards the right hand. Really feel my right leg. Hello. Ooh. Reverse. Oh. and float your hands to the mat. Step it back, dog. Your vinyasa if you want, or just stay in dog, or maybe child's pose. Maybe you need a child's pose after that. Tuck the toes up and back. We have one more sequence. Let's lift our left leg behind us. Bring the knee towards the chest. This time, reach it towards the left tricep. Hug it in. Hug, hug, hug. I feel it, guys. Left foot steps through. Back heel is down. Toes are pointed at an angle. So warrior one setup. So I'm not even going to rise until I have my feet where I want them. So left heel and right heel maybe line up, or my arch. Or if I know I'm really tight, I'm going to separate my feet a little more. That'll give me more space. Float your hands. So interesting to note that, everybody's femur bone is different length, different size, different shape. The bones vary so much in size, shape, that it really makes it challenging for us to have like a standard set of poses. We work towards that standard, but that's a guideline. Reach the hands. Let's bow our warrior. So interlace your fingers, start to straighten, and then start to bow in. And I want you to stay lifted here. I don't want you to go too high here. Okay? I'm staying lifted. Good, and then rise up. Release. Turn to Prasarita. So now my butt is going to be facing you. Sorry about that, guys. I should have started on the other side first. Toes are in, heels are out a bit. Let's bring our hands behind us, and I'm going to actually just squeeze my elbows towards one another behind me. And I'm going to push my hips forward a little bit and lean back. Optional. A little back bend. Nice stretch for the hip flexor. Good. And then keeping that little arch in my back, I'm going to slowly come forward to Prasarita. Come on down. There you are. Hi. All right, hands are on the mat. And I'm going to use my hands to deepen this sensation of stretch. This is your hamstring stretch for today, so maybe take advantage of kind of diving in a little deeper today, but keep the knees soft if you need to. You're noticing where you feel stress. Where does your body feel some stress? Letting this feel good. Good, and then I'm going to walk my hands out a bit and give myself a little flat back, reach and look forward, and then bring my hands to my waist as I soften my knees to rise up with a flat back. Turn your left toes out. So I know we're kind of switching from internally to externally rotated poses, or open hipped to closed hip poses. We're going to do that today. So I'm going to bring my left elbow or hand to my knee. I'm going to step my back foot in, and I'm going to start to reach for a floating half moon. Okay, so let's float this today. I lift my right leg, lift my right hand. Maybe flex the ankle if you need to bring your fingers down. I am going to bring my fingers to the mat. If you needed your block, you've got your block handy there. And then turn and revolve and open. So right hip is looking to stack on top of left. And then I'm going to start to bend my left knee, land back, warrior two, breathe in. Reverse my warrior, float my hands to the mat, step to dog, maybe vinyasa here. If you're looking to strengthen both upper and lower body, we move through the vinyasa. And I'm staying with my child's pose swan edition. The toes up and back. Let's lift our right leg up behind us. Squeeze your butt. Bring the knee as close to the chest as you can as you really round the upper back here, like you're going to kiss your knee. Step it through. Spin the back heel down, warrior one position. So toes are not turned towards the edge of the mat. They're at an angle, a diagonal here. Float your hands up, warrior one. Other side. And then float your hands to interlace behind you. So you've got your stance, trying to keep the knee over the ankle if you can. If it does, stay back a bit. That's a little less work, requires less opening of the hip. If you want to dive in and go a little deeper, you bend the knee more. Straighten the elbows, dive your chest forward. Hold for about 3 breaths here. Back off. I know most of us can probably dive down and go really deep, but I want you to stay lifted here. You don't need to go. This actually takes a little more effort to stay a little bit lifted. One more breath. And then rise. Turn the toes in. Oh. Inhale and reach out. Bow, flat back, hands to the mat. Let's do a little twist here. So in our Prasarita, right hand comes underneath your face. Sweep your left hand up towards the sky and turn and gaze that direction. Trying to keep this in the upper back. If you can, bring your left hand down. Inhale to reach your right hand up. Try to keep your pelvis as level as you can. Maybe not let the pelvis just fly and go as you turn and gaze. Hand comes to the mat. I'm going to soften my knees, flat back and rise. Turn my right heel in, my right toes facing. We're moving right into floating half moon, our best ability here. Maybe hand to thigh as I step my back foot in. Then reach my right hand and float. I'm going to start to bend or flex my left ankle. Breath is steady, shoulders turn open, belly is engaged. Bend your right knee, step it back, float into your reverse. I'm not going to need any back bending today, are we? I'm feeling it. Hands to the mat, down dog. Option to stay here or vinyasa. Back up to dog. Look forward, step your right foot forward. Drop your left knee and drag it towards your right ankle. Sit back. Matsyendrasana. Okay, so foot could be in front of the shin. This might work for your body better than having it over. So you're just going to acknowledge, where do I need to be? Is it easier for me to keep my hips down if my foot is in front of the shin? That's the determination. Whether you can ever get it over is not important, okay? I need to let go of that. Hands around the knee. Let's inhale and lift up. And even I, as a teacher, need to let go of that because we've standardized yoga quite a bit. The necessity, because we have so many people coming to the mat now, that individual instruction is rare. It's very rare. So where the teacher actually gets to know everything about your body and gets to instruct you from there. So it's helpful for us to know that everybody's body is different and you've got to listen, reach your right hand around, maybe wrap to bind. And draw the right thigh in towards the belly, or bring it to the outside of the knee and lift and extend. If it feels good, look over the right shoulder. Always optional to keep your chin right over your chest. Good. And I'm going to slowly unwind and turn to my left. So I'm keeping my leg where it is, but I'm going to turn, place my hands on the mat, and I'm going to lean over. Just feel a little counter pose. Good. And then from here, look to shins crossing parallel with each other if I can. If not, I'm going to bring the foot in front. If you can, you could do half lotus here if you want. Really depends on how you feel, or Gomukhasana is here too. Maybe I'll do that one today. I'm going to Gomukhasana it. I'm going to inhale and reach up, and exhale, reach forward, keeping that length in my spine, dipping my chin in. Adjust your feet. If you're in Gomukhasana, cow face pose. We're looking for a neutral pelvis as best we can, trying to keep the pelvis neutral here. And then rise. Let's change the cross of the legs for Matsyendrasana. So bringing the foot in front, and if you want to, you can also change this into Marichyasana, which is just to straighten the bottom leg. So that's optional there too. Lift and lengthen. Turn and rotate on the central axis of the spine. Turn and gaze over left shoulder, or just bring head to neutral. Come back to a steady breath. I realize that as I'm moving through the practice, I'm breathing really hard because I am talking. So I'm not getting to maintain my Ujjayi breath. So please don't listen to my breathing as a judge for what your breath should be like. It should be as smooth as you can, the inhales and exhales through the nose. Of course, it's gonna become more labored as you're working harder, but can you slow it down or maintain nose breathing while you're practicing? The microphone is right here at my chest, so you're hearing probably every breath. And then slowly unwind, turn the other way, and just lean over. Oh, I just felt a pop. So it's also interesting to note, as I've been doing a little more research and study, come into your variation, fire log pose, half lotus, or Gomukhasana, you choose. Inhale to reach up, fold over. Let's get into the pose before I finish saying what I was going to say, but it's interesting to note in my reading in the last month or so is that some people actually have more vertebrae than others. You could have more ribs than someone else. Our length of our spine is different from the next person, obviously in variations of height and maybe abnormalities in the spine as well. All of these are huge factors in our yoga practice. So even though you may go to class and have someone try to direct you into the standard pose, that's generally what the safest variation is for us as teachers to guide you in. Your body's going to be different. So if someone comes up to you and says, I want you to do this, and you cannot do it, you just simply say, my body will not do that. and we understand. We understand the variations, and yoga in ancient times was actually practiced with a lot more one-on-one instruction. So the instructor became your guru and was able to know everything about your emotional state, everything you were going through emotionally or physically, things that had happened to you, almost like a physician basically, and guided you in your practice so that you could, progress in that way. So let's return to our seat. Find a comfortable seat. If you know you like a blanket underneath you, you can do that. But we're going to actually go back to alternate nostril breath here to kind of calm down. I feel kind of heated and energized right now, and I'm going to settle my energy by just a few rounds of the alternate nostril breath. So come back into it, index finger in, middle finger, these two extended. Take a couple deep breaths in through the nose and out. Now that you have the Ujjayi breath established, this might be easier. Inhale. Remember, it's that back of the throat breathing that we want to do. So let's go ahead and close the left nostril. Breathe in through the right. Close the right. Breathe out through the left. Breathe in left. Close left, breathe out right. Breathe right. Close right, breathe out left. Breathe left. Close left, breathe out right. Keep going. Just do 2 more rounds each side. And then release your hands and take a couple nose breaths, just eyes closed. Good. And then switch your feet to extend. Lower yourself. Let's bring our hands out by our side. Let's take our feet wide and let the knees just rock together for a few breaths. Now really noticing the spine and its connection to the earth, your pelvis, its connection, the ground beneath you, grounding yourself. And then start to extend the legs. Let's go long. And for me today, I'm actually going to reach up and just clasp hold of my forearms and just feel a little stretch of the upper body a bit. I'm feeling a little tightness there. So I'm going to reach up, bend my elbows overhead, clasp my forearms, and this is optional. If it feels better for you to just straighten the arms, do that. Noticing the gripping in and around the pelvis. The pelvis is designed to keep us steady. The muscles that are there are strong. Keep us upright. Hold all the other muscles together. It's like the juncture point of the muscular system, really. One of the juncture points, and one of the main ones is the hips, connecting the lower and the upper body together. So it's extremely beneficial for us to strengthen these muscles in all various shapes and from various direction. But then also create the pliability and keep that flexibility and pliability throughout as well. If you have your hands overhead, maybe drop them by your side. Optional to stay here as long as you like. Notice the gentle softness that starts to happen throughout. As you turn off the muscular system, just a couple more deep breaths here. And those of you that need to rise, slowly turn to your right side. Let your hands do most of the work as you rise. So push down through the mat, away with the mat underneath the hands. Turn to face the front edge of your mat. Let your eyes remain closed as you bring your hands to your heart, palms together. Just giving gratitude to any benefit that we receive today in our practice. Any shift or change that might have happened. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.